Hello. Now, let's talk about boundaries 101 and how to protect your energy. Oh, darling, just embrace your villain side. Is this working? Well, you can't get rid of me that easy. I want you to take control of your life, okay? That's why I took over. She doesn't know anything about setting boundaries. I had to teach her. So now I'll teach you. You over being a person who can't say no. Or a person who constantly feels resentment because every single time you are the one that does more than the other person and you feel resentment for that person. Or you just can't say no. Or you're constantly feeling like you have to change yourself to be light. If any of these points describe you, then continue watching. I'll help you set boundaries. First, before we start setting boundaries, you have to define what boundaries are because apparently a lot of people are misusing. So, we're gonna have to define it so you won't ever get someone to tell you they're setting a boundary and you're breaking it. Just a way to control you because that's not what boundaries are, darlings. Boundaries is just for you alone, no one else to follow, okay? First off. Second off, it's for you to protect yourself. So if, for example, recently I was seeing a mother talking about her daughter not wanting to be on camera. And she set that boundary of not being on that camera because she didn't want to act, which is understandable. And the mother kept telling her followers to ask her or to beg her to allow her to take a video of her whenever she's recording because she doesn't feel free. But the thing is, her daughter is setting the boundary of her not wanting to be in camera. So simple as that. That's a boundary. That's for her to follow. She doesn't want to be in camera. She's not going to be in camera. You can't make her. Now, you have to understand there are 5 types of boundaries. Before you go on and creating your own boundaries, you have to know these 5 types. The first boundary I want to talk about is physical boundary, which is the most common. Everybody knows this one, but everyone should have a defined what is their physical boundaries. So basically, imagine you have a bubble. I always think of this. Imagine you have a bubble around you. How far we allow someone? I don't like hugs, so I don't want anybody in my bubble. How big is your bubble? Pretty much is what I'm talking about. Do you allow other people to give you hugs? Do you only allow them to give you handshakes? Do you not even want handshakes? What are the boundaries that you need to ask yourself? Mine is I don't like hugs. I'll do a handshake, but that's as far as I'm going because I don't do hugs. Don't like them, will never like them, and I'm not going to go actively looking for them, okay? Just basically, how big is your bubble? At what point will you allow other people to come in your bubble? Is a question you need to answer. Now, the next one is emotional boundaries. So, emotional boundaries for me is how you want others to speak to you. Because, for example, if you want people to speak to you with respect, well, then you're going to have to speak with them the same, give them the respect. And but the biggest emotional boundaries, for example, do you allow other people to talk to you, call you names? How far will you allow people to call you names? That's the question. I don't, for example, I don't allow it. Right away I catch you doing it, I'll tell you right at that moment. And if you continue doing it, you're not going to never see me. Simple as that. So how far are you going to allow someone to speak to you that way? That's an emotional boundary. If you're still watching the video, thank you, by the way. And don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you like it, and press the little notification bell so you can never miss out any other videos just like this, okay? I also don't allow jokes. Don't like them? Not don't like them. Especially if it's about me. I'm not making a joke about you. Why would you make a joke about me? You know, everything is reciprocal. That's how I see things. Or unless I'm making jokes about you, then okay, I'll let it slide. But if I never do. So don't be making jokes about me. Now, the third boundary. Boundaries over material things. Just think about it this. I love reading books, as you can tell. I love reading books, and I don't loan my books. I'll recommend them to you, but I'm not going to loan them. Why? Because I've had time after time, people not. That's my material boundary, for example. Another boundary is I don't allow people to drive my car. That's understandable. You don't have to even have a reason why you have that boundary. Just, you don't like it? Okay, you're not going to allow people to do it. Simple as that. Don't like sharing my clothes? Don't share your clothes. You know? Simple. Food. I don't like sharing my food. Don't share food. That's another boundary. That's a material boundary. Third boundary is mental boundary. This has to do with your mentality. So how far will you go to talk about your belief, your values? How far will you allow to do with boundaries over your belief, your feelings, your values, your opinions? Okay? You need to recognize that there's certain topics that you don't want to talk about. For example, I'm not a fan. I know we have to talk about it, and I'm okay with it, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to put my opinion. So I don't talk about politics or religion. Not a fan of it. Won't talk about it. Not going to. You're not going to make me. Go leave. The moment you speak of any of those two, peace out, leaving. You know? Or another good boundary is like you go to family dinner, family whatever, you have disagreeing opinions. Don't bring it up. Why would you bring it up if you knew? Especially like, for example, on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Why ruin it? Create that boundary. Leave the room. You don't have to stay there and watch everybody argue. Just leave. No. This is the big question. What if people get mad at me? Well, darling, that is not for you to care. Simple and sincere. Yes, people are going to get mad at you because they were benefiting that you didn't have that boundary. And the moment you created it, they didn't have access to you anymore. And they didn't like that. So that's for you to recognize, oh, they were benefiting of me not having a boundary. So at that moment, you can make the decision if you want to continue to befriend this person or you continue to have this person in your life. Something that we're always taught, especially as a female, we have to be the nice girl. No, you don't. That's why I always say, embrace being the villain. People are going to see you as a villain, even when you're a nice person. So start having boundaries to protect yourself. Because trust me, no one's going to protect you as much as you're going to protect yourself. And that's why, darling, say embrace your villain side. Just embrace it. If people are going to see you as a villain, might as well embrace it. Because in reality, you're not being the villain. You're just cutting boundaries, but people see that as you being a villain. You're not going to be that people pleaser, nice girl persona anymore. You're going to embrace being the villain, okay? Now that we reach the end of this advice, I shall leave you with this last words. Setting boundaries is the greatest thing you can do for self-care, for yourself, and your self-worth. You can give yourself, those boundaries are for you to protect yourself. But before we depart, just remember to subscribe. It's free, might as well. And press the notification bell so you will never miss any videos. And if you have any advice or thoughts that you would like to add on, please comment in the comments below. Bye, darling. Goodbye, my villain. Well, we need to talk anyways. I still want to talk about you taking that job. Yeah, I feel like it would be beneficial. And also, take stop taking over my channel, that would be awesome.